Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucky Loads 15 where I'll be giving you my Lucky 15 predictions as normal here on the channel. If you've never joined us here at the channel before, what I do is every day I do a Lucky 15 bet and I give my selections on what I think will run well. Sometimes we have some good days, sometimes we've had some bad days. We had a winner today which was good in a second place, and we'll get into a recap just in a sec. Also as well, if you're new to the channel like I just said, if you think what am I doing here on YouTube, I want to be a horse racing journalist in the future one day. Hopefully it'll be my dream job. That's what I really want to do. I'm going back to university in September to study a sports broadcasting journalism degree, and I'm using this channel to gain some experience in recording, making vlogs, presenting, also express my knowledge and research onto like a presenting capacity, and hopefully I can learn from this experience. And please subscribe to us if you like our vlogs and want more tips. The more subscriptions I can get, the better, because I do have plans in the long term to keep the channel going and provide some better content, get out there. I live not too far from some local trainers like Marcus Dragoning. Also as well, I don't live too far from Lambourne, so I can always get up there. Don't live too far from Andrew Bolden and Rafe Beckett and a few others trainers, so I can always go to them, and hopefully it'd be nice to maybe see what the grooms staff do, how they train the horses. Maybe we could follow a few horses and see how they get on at some racetracks, because it's not always about the winners, even though we like to predict the winners. Sometimes if a horse finishes second, third or fourth, it can sometimes be considered a good race, and sometimes trainers can bag some nice prize money by just coming in the places. So yeah, that's one element I would like to explore one day on the channel, so you need to subscribe for that to happen. Also like the videos as well, but I'm just going to do a recap on how today's selections ran in our Lucky 15. It got off with an absolute shocker with Weekend Defender, who was my nap. Sorry if you put a few quid on him. I saw a couple of you had. He didn't even leave the stalls. The jockey, Tom Eves, left the blindfold on in the stalls, and then as soon as they went, he just failed to go with them. Unfortunately, not all bookmakers refunded the bet, as in normal racing rules, it was considered a runner. But a few bookmakers, I know Sky Bet didn't classify it as a non-runner, so they did classify it as a non-runner, Sky Bet, so people got their money back in their multiple bet or their single bet if they backed a Weekend Defender. I've noticed Sky Bet are actually quite good at doing that if your horse doesn't get a fair go at a race, and I think sometimes bookmakers should refund when it happens there. So that was a very disappointing start. But then we went on to Brighton and we had Let's Be Happy come in for us in a place. He was short due to a few non-runners, but when we backed him he was 7-2. He was probably never going to win today. There was a bit of market support for the winner that won that race, and he ran his race and he was kind of like best of the rest, because I think it was quite an impressive display by the winner. In the end it won by about 5 or 6 lengths, so yeah, our horse there was never probably going to win, but he ran best of the rest, so that was okay there. Then we had Bracco de Dor for Paul Nicholls. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm not very good with my French pronunciation, or neither all horses, to be fair. Some of the Arabian ones and the French ones and even the Irish ones can be very hard to pronounce. But anyway, this horse absolutely won very comfortably by about 10 lengths. Handicapper pretty well whacked that one up for Paul Nicholls, but it was a nice performance. I see some of you said that it was a bad decision to go for that horse. A few of you commented in the comments box below, but you have to back the winners, and even though it was a bit of a short priced horse, it was definitely the most classiest horse in the field, with the most room for development, the best horse in the race, and it won. And it doesn't matter what price, the bookmakers are just giving you the odds of probably what they think the horse will run at, and obviously it's our job to find the horses to win, and you back it at what you think it's going to run at, and if you think it's going to run well at a short price and win, you go for it. It's simple as that. It's not always picking about the outsiders. It is nice to pick the outsiders, and it's not always easy, so Good luck to you if you like going down that route, but I like to pick a mixture. I like to pick some outsiders. I like to pick some also not quite favourites, but favourites which I think will have value in a fair price. So that's what I go for there. And then in the last, we went for a long shot with Dangly Don't Ask at Chepstow. Was prominent in the earlier part of the race, but just faded away massively towards the end. Probably a bit outclassed, if I'm honest, because it had been shown some good, reasonable form, but it couldn't put it to the test today, and probably was outclassed definitely today. So that's how today's selections ran. I'm going to be getting stuck into tomorrow's horse racing. Fair few races going on tomorrow, so I managed to pull something out of the hat to form a lucky 15, and I'm just going to go through on my selections now. Also as well, I'm going to challenge, or change I should say, it up a little bit in our lucky 15. I'm going to provide an app every day from now on. And also as well, I know some of you, like we said about the long shots, I'm going to pick an outside or a long shot to make up in our lucky 15, and I'm going to pick two other horses that I think will run well, which are at a fair price. So I'll get into those now. And our first selection tomorrow will go to Thirsk with a horse called Circus. Now this horse is a Godolphin horse, and it's trained by Charlie Appleby, one of their trainers, and it's going to be ridden by Martin Lane, who I think is one of the jockeys that's more based up north with the Godolphin rides. This horse is quite an interesting horse on paper. 5-1 bookmakers at the moment, and last time it ran was at Newmarket in a very disappointing listed race, but not to be disheartened. That race was won by Permian, who went on to win the Dante. Then he was the well-backed one of the well-backed outsiders for the Derby. He didn't quite win the Derby that day, finishing back in 8th place, but he managed to bounce back at Royal Ascot with a good performance there and proved that he's still a good horse. So that's not the worst piece of form, even though this horse was absolutely miles back. There was a bit of a recurring injury or something didn't go quite right with the horse. I think it had a slight niggle, so you can put a line through that form. We'll also feature Khalidi as well, who has ran a few good races and also had not a bad Royal Ascot in 2nd place. So that listed race wasn't too bad if the trainers thought it was definitely worth a go at that kind of level. But this horse makes its appearance since that run tomorrow. It subsequently had won before Newmarket in a newcomers race, and a few winners have come out of that race, so that piece of form isn't too bad there. This race is a little bit wide open, and I thought 5-1, if he can bounce back tomorrow with some of the ability that he showed first time out, he could definitely be in the mix tomorrow, and I thought 5-1, that was a fair price. So that's going to be our first selection at Thirsk tomorrow in the 4:30 there. Then we go to the evening race in action at Kempton in the 7:40 on the all-weather. Now this is going to be my nap for tomorrow. Hopefully it'll at least get about 10 foot, or least make a race of it at least. Anyway, the horse that we're going for here is Regicide from James Fanshaw's yard. He's been in great form of late, winning the Northumberland Plate the weekend with, I think it was called Higher Power. He also owns a Tin Man as well, which bounced back at Royal Ascot. So he's got some good horses in his stable. They're not the biggest stable in the world, but he's got some good horses. One of his main jockeys, Tom Queally, takes a ride, which is not a bad jockey booking. You might remember that Tom Queally had the great relationship with Frankel, so he's definitely a sound jockey. This horse arrived here in some good vein and form. It finished behind a horse called Wadagor last time out, which is rated 100 with its handicap mark, so that was a pretty good piece of form there. And this horse, Regicide, was leading a couple of furlongs out, but then just got pipped towards the line. So all in all, he's got some good form. He's also a previous winner where he won at Lingfield. He's still very lightly raced as well. He's only 4 years old, and he's only had about 5 or 6 starts. So he's still lightly raced, unexposed as well, and could develop further here tomorrow with the run. 5-1 bookmakers at the moment. I thought Regicide was a very, very interesting runner tomorrow, especially with the red hot James Fanshaw yard at the moment. And that's going to be my nap there for tomorrow, Regicide. Our third selection tomorrow sees us go to Bath in the other flat racing action in the evening. And the horse that we've gone here is in the 9 o'clock, the last race of the day, with a horse called Grams and Ounces, which you might think, why am I going for that horse? It's one of the old horses in the race. It's next jumper horse, and they're trying it out in the flat. It's trained by Great Harris, and Timmy Murphy takes the ride. You might remember Timmy Murphy if you're a bit of an older generation compared to me. About 20 years ago, was a jump jockey for Paul Nicholls. Since then, he had a few problems as well. I think he had a few problems with a bit of drink and drugs. He since sorted that out in his life, and he now rides a lot on the flat, especially on the all-weather as well, and some of the less flat meetings. So he's making not a bad living there now. He rides pretty well in these kind of races as well. Grams and Ounces is seeking a hat-trick here tomorrow, where last time it won over course and distance at Bath with the ground. And the ground won't be an issue for it tomorrow. It's going to be firm ground, which it can sometimes be at Bath. Very quick ground. And I thought at a mark of 59 with its handicap mark, and a few other horses that aren't running amazing, I thought this horse definitely had a good chance tomorrow at a price of 6-1, at least being in the frame tomorrow. So that's going to be our selection there in the third race. We then go to the last race at Kempton, which will be my long shot for the day. And the horse that we've gone for here is a horse called Dachas, who is trained by Amanda Parrott. Pat Dobbs takes a ride. Quite an interesting horse, I thought, on paper. Currently run about 12-1 bookmakers at the moment. It had run 2 races in the winter at Kempton with a place on its debut in third, and then it went on to win quite nicely, beating some good horses that day. Then went for a little bit of a break and wasn't seen for a few months. It was then reintroduced at Chelmsford and didn't run well at all that day, but I think you can argue that the horse definitely needed the run and could come on for the run tomorrow as well. I thought at a longer odds he could be interesting tomorrow because he's still lightly raced, still unexposed compared to a lot of other types in this race, and he seems to like Kempton from his winter run, so he could come to fruition tomorrow, and at a price I definitely thought he could be interesting. So that's our last selection and our long shot for tomorrow. But anyway, if you've had a good day on the horses, let us know in the comments box below. I actually did a few private bets tonight, and surprise, surprise, that actually came in. I had a few winners. It's always a shame when that happens and I don't back them in the lucky 15 that I do on the vlog. So that was annoying there. Also, please subscribe to our channel at LuckyLoads15 here, like we mentioned earlier in the vlog. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at LuckyLoads15, like us on Facebook as well, but we're more active on Twitter, which we've mentioned before. Gamble responsibly. You don't have to do my tips if you don't want to. If you want to lose money, I wouldn't do my tips, but if you like one or two of them, I wouldn't put you off them. So yeah, so that's our selections for tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have a good day tomorrow. Continue our mini streak of at least getting one winner on the channel a day. And yeah, we'll see you soon.